Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to be doing my April wrap-up. So in April, my reading month was interesting. The weather got very nice, and in Northern Ireland, when the sun is out, you go out. So in that context, I didn't read much. However, at the same time, I'd rather read quality over quantity. Not saying I wouldn't be thrilled if I read a ton of books in a month, but the quality of my reading will always surpass the quantity. Now, I'm sorry if the lighting is weird. I know the light is really fluctuating, so if it's all out of whack, I'm really sorry. And I think Kiara is just going to be hanging out in the background of this video. Excuse me. No. Get down. Thank you. Okay, anyway, so the first book I read in April was A Net for Small Fishes by Lucy Jago. I loved this one. I absolutely love this one so much. As well, for the first two books, I have individual reviews for them, so I will link those in the description below and in the cards. But A Net for Small Fishes is set in the 1600s, and it basically follows these two women who are trying to take their lives in their own hands and the fates and the paths that their lives are taking. We see our main protagonist is a married woman with a large family, and she just wants the best for her children, and she wants to be in court, and she wants to have a beautiful, glamorous life in court. And then she befriends a woman who is in court and who is in a miserable marriage and wants to live a happier life. So you see their bond grow and them essentially become sisters. And then you see the measures that they will take to have their lives go the way that they want them to. Now, I didn't realize, but this is based on a true story, so I had no idea about that, and that added a whole nother level of what to it. There were multiple twists that really threw me off that I was like, no, and then it happened. So that was very, it was exciting. I was on the edge of my seat. It took a bit to read it, but I was just enjoying, being in its world, and yeah, I absolutely loved it, so it was a 5 out of 5. Now, the next one that I read was Daughters of Night by Laura Shepard Robinson. Now this one is set in the 1700s, in the late 1700s, so we're working our way up in the timeline. And basically our main protagonist finds a woman who has been fatally wounded and is dying, and decides to solve her murder. Basically, the authorities are invested originally in the murder, and they end up not caring. Once they realize the woman she's found was a highly paid prostitute, then they don't care. However, our protagonist knows that that doesn't matter, and she deserves justice no matter what, and decides to fight for it. And really fight for it. It's a long book. It's like 560 pages, though being fair, the font is pretty large. I hadn't read, what's the bone? I'm thinking of the name of Laura's other book I know of. I think the Bone something? Bones? Don't know. Getting mixed up. But, I quite liked it. There was points where, I don't feel necessarily that it needed to be as long as it was. Now, that being said, I was never bored, but, there was tons of tangents. There was tons of, paths that the mystery took. And, you know, I feel like in one way that was really smart, because when twists happened, I was really surprised, because I had forgotten about, that tangent from before. But yeah, all in all, I really liked it. I do want to read more of her work. And I loved our protagonist. I loved our protagonist because she was just no, no one's going to tell me what to do. I'm going to figure this out. And even when people are a bit unwilling to help her and everything, she's like, that doesn't matter. I'll keep going. You can come along if you want, but I'm going to find out. And I'm like, thank you. Loved it. This author is fantastic. Very much how the other comparison I could make would be how Anne Bronte writes characters in the sense where Anne Bronte and Laura can write characters that I absolutely detest with my soul. Like, just really can make you loathe the characters you're supposed to loathe. And she did a very good job of that. Like, there was one line in particular being like, I don't expect gratitude, but I expect to be obeyed. And I was like, excuse me, what did you just say? What was that? What was that? So, yeah, I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. Overall, I loved it. There was something that, 5 stars an emotional feel for me, right? So, overall, I loved it, but I feel like it just didn't get to the full 5 star for me. So, yeah. Then the third and final book I completed this month was Farmer Giles of Ham by J.R.R. Tolkien. I adored this, and this one I just finished the other day, so don't have a review for this one, so here it is. This one was so good. I gave it 4.5 stars, so yeah, I adored it. So that means so far I have read Roverandom, Smith of Wotton Major, and now Farmer Giles of Ham. Once I read The Adventures of Tom Bombadil, I will do a full wrap-up and thoughts kind of on that quartet. I definitely preferred Farmer Giles to Smith of Wotton Major, and I don't know if I preferred it to Roverandom. I gave them the same rating, 4.5 stars. I might have, I don't know. It followed more of a linear timeline, like it was more succinct, whereas Roverandom is definitely more randomized, but I think that's part of its charm. But basically we follow this farmer who ends up unknowingly becoming like the land's dragon tamer slayer kind of thing. So you go on this whole adventure of him becoming that and going from just a farmer to having like this renowned fame, and I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. Like, Tolkien's writing definitely had me like giggling at points. I really liked how the dragon was portrayed and everything as well, so I do really highly recommend this one. Currently out of the quartet, like if you were to start with any of them, I would say maybe start with this one. But I cannot wait to read Tom Bombadil and figure out my complete and full thoughts afterwards. So, yeah. Now, another book that I need to grab. Hold on. Right, another book that I started but haven't finished but wanted to give a mention to is North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. This was on my TBR for April, and I actually didn't expect to get to it at all, so I'm pleased. I'm like 167 pages in, but my edition's 600 pages or so. Overall, I'm really liking it, but it's one that I'm listening to an audiobook, but I've realized I need to like be very actively listening to or reading with. Like, I can't have it on in the background. There's a lot happening and a lot of details being given, so I need to be very aware of it. Overall, I'm enjoying it. Is it going to finish in May? I don't know. I think it's one I'm really having fun. Like, I'm enjoying just dallying through and taking some time with. But, yeah, overall, I did get to it. I just didn't finish it, which is fine. So, yeah, those are the 3 and a little books that I read in April. How was your reading month? What was your favorite book that you read? And let me know what book you're most excited to read in May as well. In a few days after this video, I'm going to have my video of my husband picking out my May TBR coming out, which was a chaotic time. So I highly recommend checking that one out when it goes live, because it was a chaotic and fun time. I'll say that. I don't even know what I'm going to be reading. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you had a great month, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!